Welcome back to the Ben Mulroney Show. Thank you so much for joining us on this Tuesday. And look, yesterday we were having a conversation about the different types of aid and how Canada can help and where the value is. And I don't think anybody would disagree that Canada and Canadians need to do anything that we can, especially at this time of year, to help our good friends in Jamaica. Hurricane Melissa struck Jamaica on October 28th of this year as a powerful Category 5 storm, the strongest hurricane ever to make direct landfall on that island in modern history. And the damage, to say significant would be an understatement. And so here to talk about that is a great Canadian, a fantastic Torontonian, and a very, very good friend of mine. Please welcome to the show from Dragon's Den, as well as a great investor and somebody who is invested in not just this city, but this country. And for everybody to succeed, please welcome Wes Hall to the show. Wes, thanks so much for joining, and great to see you.
First of all, I got to say, Ben, why did you take this long to get me on your show, man? What happened?
I'm sorry. Listen, I'm sorry, my friend. I'm so glad.
It took a natural disaster for you to bring me on.
Well,
man.
So I've been told, my friend, that you're joining us via you're remotely today, but we have a commitment of you to join me in studio at some point soon. We'll talk about anything you want, I promise.
Done. I'm in. Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate you keeping the attention on this thing, right? Because the disaster happened and people think Jamaica is just back to normal.
Yeah.
And man, it is rough down there. In fact, I'm going there next weekend, and I've seen some of the images. Family members of mine are sending me stuff of what they're going through.
Yeah.
And it is gonna be a long, hard road to recover.
Well, look, they're saying the damage caused by the storm is estimated to be around $10 billion, and it's expected to rise. But $10 billion is relative, right? $10 billion had a hurricane made landfall in the United States, and miraculously, for the first time in a decade, no landfall of any hurricanes in the United States for the entire season. But $10 billion in the United States is one thing. $10 billion on an island nation like Jamaica is a whole other order of magnitude.
And let me just say this, the 10 billion, that's US dollars.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we think about Canada, for example, and Canada has about $15 billion in damages from a hurricane in this country, 41% of our GDP. Could you imagine how long it will take for us to dig out of that hole?
Yeah.
That is the position that Jamaica is in right now.
That's right.
And if you think about it's just not about there's 45 people dead and 15 missing, and it may not seem like a lot, but the after impact of diseases that people are going to have to deal with because they don't have fresh water and so on is a massive thing. But there's about 4.8 million tons of debris that has to be cleared from the island, and they have no place to put it all.
Yeah.
Okay. So, there's 31% of the island is still without power. The government just agreed to put $150 million in put in infrastructure back, power infrastructure back. But even with that, people won't see power until April in most of these communities.
Yeah.
Imagine that. So the work is ongoing, and it's the scale is large.
Wes, what does it mean for you? You've got family there. You hail from there. It is a part of the world that you carry with you all the time. It's part of your story. It's part of who you are. Mm-hmm. What does it mean to you to see where you're from be affected so significantly by a natural disaster?
So just so people can put it in perspective, right? And it's Given Tuesday, so I'm glad we're having this conversation today. If you have relatives in Jamaica, I came from rural Jamaica, St. Thomas, Golden Grove. And last weekend, we have to get food supplies and other medical supplies to that community. There's about 150 families in my community, including relatives of mine. And so we have to land the product in Kingston, but we now have to hire vehicles, trucks to actually bring the supplies to these communities, right? They don't have the money to pay for that. But when somebody sent me a video of the distribution, and in the lineup are my family members, including people that I grew up with that were in that lineup waiting for aid supply. And it just goes to show that's when it brings it close to home for you, right? Here I am in Canada. Life is relatively good for me. And here are people that I grew up with, family members lining up just to get their basic necessities, food and water and medical supplies.
Yeah.
And this is just one shipment that will last them for 1 week. Next week, there will be others and others and others until they actually recover. And in some of these communities, to get access, you can't get access by road. You got to get access by helicopter. So it is, again, it's the scale is large, and we need as much support as we can get. And the financial support
Yeah.
is obviously critical
Yeah.
that we need right
Well,
now.
we're going to talk about it at the end, but there's one other question I want to bring up with you because I was talking with my producer this morning about the Haiti earthquake, right? Devastated that entire
Hmm.
country. And I remember when I worked at CTV, we mobilized CTV, CBC, and Global for a telethon on all three networks
Hmm.
simultaneously. Meanwhile, what's happened in Jamaica is it's probably not on that scale, but the devastation is significant. And yet, as you pointed out, this happened in October and it hasn't stayed on people's radar. How do you account for the difference in focus between then and now?
I think, sometimes when you're not impacted by something directly, it's easy to just move on to something else. And our attention span is it takes 2 seconds before we move on to something
Yeah,
else, right? The bottom line is that when you're actually living it, it's almost like it's an eternity. For those people, since the hurricane in certain parts of Jamaica, it's like an eternity.
yeah,
One of the things that we haven't really talked about is the fact that we're going to be impacted here in Canada.
yeah,
A lot of the most hardest hit areas are where we get our farm workers from
yeah,
in Ontario, for example. And so if these people don't have homes, they can't get back on their feet, they can't come here to work in our farms.
yeah.
And so as a result of that, prices will be higher for us in the come summer. And in some cases, we can't even get the produce on our shelves this summer. So that's why we can't just say it's too bad. We move on to the next news story. In fact, we're going to see the impact of it very, very soon in our economy.
So tell me, before I've got about a minute and a half left, and I want to make sure that we get to it. What is the best way, in your estimation, for Canadians to help? Because I've said it before. These are our neighbors. These are people who helped build Canada, either who've
Mhm.
moved here and built this country as Canadians, or as you said, seasonal workers. They are our neighbors, hemispheric neighbors. Helping Jamaica today is actually the definition of an investment, right? It's an investment that
Mhm.
will pay off. So how can Canadians help um, rebuild this country
Yeah.
that in a lot of ways we depend on?
Well, Ben, you're looking at a product of Jamaica that came to Canada to help with this economy. I came here September 27th, 1985. I have hundreds of people hired in this country. I've paid millions of dollars in taxes to help the Canadian economy. How can we help Jamaicans? We can do it by donating. Harmonies of Hope is a concert. You can buy tickets, but if you are not able to make the concert, even if you are able to make the concert, please, we need your donation. It doesn't matter the amount. It doesn't matter. We need food, we need clean water, we need building materials. Kids need to go back to school. People need their homes rebuilt. So whatever you can do to help, please do that, especially on this given Tuesday. Money
Yeah.
is key right now, and we can spend that money to bring those families back to normal as soon as we possibly can.
Wes, thank you so much. I'm sorry that the first time you're on the show, it's to talk about something so devastating. But if there is ever somebody who could help cut through the noise and put this front and center for as many Canadians as possible, I know it's you. Thank you for joining us. My best to you and the entire family, and I look forward to seeing you
Thanks,
soon, my
brother.
friend. All right, take care.
Thanks, you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so
Peace.
much. Yeah, this is it's the reminder of the attention that we gave to the devastation in Haiti versus what the people of Jamaica need today. And like I said, you don't need to convince me that the people of Jamaica and helping the country of Jamaica is the definition of the aid that a country like Canada should be putting on the table. That is what we should be doing, and that should cross every single party line, left, right, center, up and down. It's the right thing to do, and I hope that we do it as far as we possibly can. Thanks so much for watching the show. Now, if you enjoyed what you saw, hit that subscribe button so you never miss another episode of The Ben Mulroney Show.